people of Ireland and the world, it has come to my attention that there is an awful racist out there. His name is Stevo Timothy, also known as Sir Stevo Timothy. He is a racist. There is no doubt about it. And I will read the following list of the people he's racist against. Stevo Timothy hates the Chinese, the gays, people who are like the gays, i.e. the French people themselves, the Japanese, the Mexicans, the fat Americans, English cunts, the Welsh for obvious reasons, skinny Americans, in other words, Canadians, transsexuals, lesbians, plus lesbians with willies, disabled people, especially cripples and wheelchair users, and gimpy crutch users, women should wear long skirts, obey their husbands and die in childbirth, Liverpool fans, plus people who cannot pronounce can of Coke properly, Germans, Russians, and the Islams, which include, but not limited to, Eskimos, the Maasai people, and Jehovah's Witnesses. I would advise people of Ireland and the world not to watch these racist Sir Stevo Timothy videos. He is a horrible human and should be put down at the nearest Vits. I advise you to boycott him, do not watch his videos, do not attend the shows, and kill him on sight. Thank you very much.
So, Michael, does this mean that you're accepting of everyone?
Of course, I love everyone. Well, except for those dirty Protestants.
Malawi, I'm bored.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to 5 Rounds, another lovely episode. Our guest today is none other than Stevo Timothy, Farmer Michael. That's the famous Irish comedian, actor, and obviously a big advocate in mental health. This is a man that I knew for a long time, and I've seen him from when he started doing sketch videos that have been viral on different platforms. We're looking at a person who has over 370,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we believe, yeah, we can applaud that. We can applaud that. We can applaud that. We can applaud that because it's amazing for myself personally. As I know him from when the first time I ever met him, I remember it was out there in Galway. It was beside Supermax. That's the first time I met you. I don't know if you remember that. And I don't think I could to see where he is right now. To me, it's like wow. Really, it's just growing and growing in numbers, and with how his things have gone viral. First of almost the first thing that everybody else here would want to know is Stevo and your comedy. I know one of the lads asked me, he said, "Look, I have to find out." He said, "Stevo, what actually inspired you to get into doing comedy, viral videos in yourself?"
Oh, friends.
I think it was more accidentally than anything. I was always that messer in school. I was always that little cheeky git in school. Expelled from school for being a little shit. But I was always the messer. So I was always the class clown. And I always thought about comedy and stuff, and I never thought about doing it seriously. And even when I started the first videos, I just started doing them for the crack, as you know yourself, just something to do. And I had them on my phone for a while, and I never really done anything with them. And then I just decided damn it, I'll throw them up on the internet, see what happens. Throw them up on Facebook. And the next thing was kind of history. It just kind of took off, and it was just people like these things. You know what I mean? So it kind of happened accidentally, really.
And there it was. I get where you come from. I know most of these guys, they're waiting. They can't wait. I know somebody here has something they want to know basically about you.
Wait. You get where he's coming from. From what?
No, sorry. No, you're gonna cut that. Cut that. You're gonna cut that anyway. But listen.
I am not cutting that.
Why? I know. When I said to them you're coming in, they said, "Oh, this most of the guys have seen your videos. They know your videos." And this guy said, "What?" Of course, one time because he's in England, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, he's a John out the road there, like, you know." Don't think he lives out there in Hollywood or something. So if anyone would have to know,
in Ireland, we just all Irish people live in the same house. One island.
Oh man! Before we start firing out these questions, Steve, you've got to rep where you're from. So where are you from?
Westside Galway.
Right.
Not West Side, not that West Side. West Side. although we like when like West Side and rap songs because it makes us feel good about where we're from too.
Yeah,
so it's all good. Yeah, so it's West Side Galway in Galway City.
Right.
That's good. Galway is a nice place, you know.
Yeah. It's not nice at the moment with all this lockdown crap. But, you know,
Lockdown as well.
I think all the celebrities leave outside Dublin, is it?
Yeah, that's have you noticed that?
Yeah, because I've seen all the famous Irish stars like celebrities and internet icons and everything. You one of them, and I see the other guy over in Kerry as well. And I'm like, well, there's no famous guy. Like, it's a family.
Bono?
It's a
Where's
family.
Bono?
Yeah.
They're huge. They're huge.
Well, you're one of them. So it's just like I've noticed there's.
They're more family friendly. I'm not. I'm not safe.
I thought you were gonna be a little bit humble there, but then I was gonna say, look at the YouTube flag right behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, this is the flag.
I blocked that there like that.
That is inspiring. That is very inspiring.
I wanted to ask you something as well. I seen about you, Steve. I seen you saying you're actually going in the ring to fight with Connor McGregor. Is that right?
Oh, I would fucking love to. I would love to. Wheelchair to wheelchair. Wheelchair to wheelchair.
He would knock you out, man.
Because I just seen.
I would let him beat the shit out of me for the money.
For the money, you take anything for the money.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'm sure that's what he said about Mayweather, isn't it? I just woke
up.
Just give me the money. I don't care.
Imagine if it happened. Like you would always have work. You know, the second best company in the world, or the second best, because you could always be like that person. I'm the second best, you know what I mean? So
hey man, you can always say I'm the guy who fought him. I'm the guy who fought him. I fought him, yeah. Even though you lost,
I think the only thing I can just brick drive through Dublin one day and hope I knock him out with a brick and tell everyone I knocked out Connor McGregor.
Okay, knocked him out.
I knocked out Conor McGregor. No, fair. That's a good idea, I'd say.
There's something I wanted to ask you though. Have you always done the comedy you do? Like, how did you pick that sort of comedy? Like, if you look at your comedy, it's sort of very gritty, over the edge. Like you sort of okay. Let's just say it in how the Irish say it. You sort of take a piss, but you take the piss a bit higher. Like how did you know that? Let me do this type of comedy and I can still get away with it.
I think I chose the character because like everyone knows a kind of at the beginning it was like a very stereotypical old Irish farmer. And he hates everything and hates everyone. And I think after a while, it became a bit more relatable to other cultures and people and other nationalities, because we all have like a backward granddad or a backward uncle or someone in our family that just doesn't. And you can tell him a million times, no, dad, gay people are not like that. And no, the gay people.
Michael, now that the referendum's passed, do you think you're going to get invited to any gay weddings?
Huh?
You know, like any of your friends who are getting married?
Say that again, Kathleen. Now, I'm a bit on the confused and you're doing me a concern.
Right. Now that the marriage referendum has passed...
Yes.
Yeah, remember we voted. Do you think that you're going to get invited to any gay
Kathleen,
weddings?
there's no gays in Ireland.
What?
You're confused again. You got the misconceptions inside in that chip-like brain you have.
What do you mean?
There's no gays in Ireland.
Of course there
That's
is.
a thing the Americans do have.
Of course, there's gays everywhere.
They're not.
What about, like, Louis Walsh is gay?
He's not gay. He's a singing man.
But he's gay.
He's not. He's a singing man. Some people are singing men.
Brian Kennedy, he's gay.
He likes to do a jig. Is all he likes to do is a jig.
Gay. He jigs with men.
He's flamboyant, Kathleen. He's not gay.
Okay, but Graham...
Maybe he was confused, but if he needs a nice woman now, he'll settle down and he'll have children.
I don't think so. Graham
like
Norton,
the church, Graham Norton is another flamboyant
he's
man.
definitely gay,
He's
and
not
everyone
gay.
knows.
Kathleen, he's not gay. He's an entertaining man. An entertainer, Kathleen.
You know, they will never understand. You can't, no matter what you say to them, but they believe. It's hard to change them. So I wanted to kind of portray that. Like I want, like the character is like Michael is a horrible human. Like he's sexist, he's racist, he's homophobic. He is everything. He hates everyone and anything. But he's so that he like always the goal is to make him look and to make him look really stupid, as opposed to what he's saying. Because I'd hate anyone to watch it and kind of you laugh along way as well because obviously there's a bit of shit. But I'd hate for anyone to go away and think, oh, I'm actually or I'm homophobic or I'm sexist. You know what I mean? That kind of way. I want the character to be so ridiculous that people laugh at those very views.
That's a very good point. So what why did you pick that area knowing the sensitivity of said topics and maybe the possible backlash, even though it is funny? Why do comedians normally pick the very sensitive stuff and normally turn it into gold? What drives?
I like at the beginning, as I said, very kind of just farm. That's why the name Farmer Michael started. It was just about kind of farming stuff, very Irish things. But then, as I started to have a bit more of a platform, I kind of like I felt almost the need to speak out on certain things morally, and that you can't always take the safe route in life. You have to talk about things. Talk about, you know, I forget his name. Oh my God, George Floyd. I had to talk about race relations in America. I had to talk homophobia. I had to talk about sexism. I had to talk about them things because I done one about racism in America, and I was on a lot of ratings on trying to like I had to defend it, but a lot from the African community in, but they knew what I was doing. They could see what I was doing. So I was like, no, white cops don't shoot black people in America. That never happens. It's that shoot themselves, and then they throw the guns towards the cops to frame them. You know what I mean? How fucking ridiculous that sounds. But saying that, you would have a certain percentage of white Americans who would probably believe that if some news article stated. So try to take you take your enemy's viewpoint and you exaggerate it so much as to make them look fucking ridiculous.
I see now. I think now I understand. Because believe it or not,
and you get attacked from it as well. Because Ovi will notice, I like over the last few months and 2 days as well for the last few weeks, I've been attacked by a lot of kind of far right figures in Ireland. I mention any names, but I'm sure a lot of us don't. And they've been attacking me on Twitter and attacking me on Instagram and Facebook and shit because of I'm a fucking race traitor. I'm fucking base. I'm all this kind of bullshit. I don't really give a fuck, because their opinions mean nothing to me. They're a minority in this country. And the very fact that we're a platform, and we're putting up articles about them is only making their stupid backward opinion seem greater in an Irish context. And and a lot of people are feeling dispossessed at this moment with the lockdown and with everything. And this, like, I'd absolutely hate for the whole black-white American thing to creep in to an Irish context, because we are not like that. You know what I mean? We are not. We had that white American superiority complex, and we should never fucking have that in this country either.
Yeah. Given the history and the mistreatment that the Irish people have had in America, I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, we should be there for the downtrodden. We always take the side of the downtrodden. Yeah. In historical and in global wars, we always root for the little guy, and we should always never lose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. That is very good. With all this coming through, I'm going to now move on to what you're doing now, which I understand you're championing mental health. With this targeting, the constant people that are coming at your throat, how do you deal with it mentally as a person? Because, as Biggie said, more money, more problems. More, the more height you get, more problems you get.
Yeah, I think in that context, it's without the money, but you still get the shit. But I suppose it's just one of them things. You kind of, at the beginning, it's kind of just people saying you're an idiot or an asshole or whatever. But then it gets a bit more incessant after a while, and then they'll like your family members or your disability, or they'll go after your girlfriend, or they'll go after. You know what I mean? They start to get that kind of into it, and it can be like usually you can cope with it, and you just go like, F you, whatever. But sometimes, like, obviously you'll have off days where you feel really shit, you feel bad about life, or you feel bad about what you're doing, or a video didn't go well, or you might have family issues, and you read that comment, and it does get you, and it does cut into you, and it's hard to kind of turn that off, because there could be loads of positive comments and there could be one negative, and the negative is going to stay with you, and it's going to eat into you.
100%. No, listen. For what it's worth, what you're doing is good. It's eye-opening. It's things that it's not just. It's not just comedy. It creates awareness,
Well, I've always said if it gets people discussing, then
you're doing
something like that.
Absolutely.
And also like what you just said, after when he reached that point, like you have all these subscribers and followers and all these people attacking you and stuff, and we get into the topic of mental health as well. That's when you started talking about this thing. Would you explain more, or how you got into having talks with like certain platforms about mental health as well?
I suppose a long history of mental health issues in my family, long history of mental health issues with me ever since I was nearly a teenager. I had anxiety, didn't understand what it was, so I smoked a lot, which made it fucking way worse. Then when I eventually found the beautiful thing called, and that was the solution to all my issues, because I didn't feel anxious, I didn't feel depressed. Yes, I did after 3-4 days drinking or whatever. Of course I did. Yeah. But for that night, that day, you were invincible. I didn't feel like I felt like how I perceived others to feel like. So I felt instead I perceived others to have, because I didn't have. So then I ended up getting and doing things, and then I went off on my motorbike with a friend of mine, and I crashed and broke the neck of my back, and he died. So that was just, it
was crazy.
The wake up call to tell you that, come on, you need to.
Yeah, the wake up call, the end call, that kind of way. Like, so. I suppose, like, then after that, I suppose I was relatively all right, and I managed to keep it in check, but then kind of came back a few times, and there was a few suicide and thoughts of suicide, and thoughts of like just leaving the earth, that I didn't want to be here, that I'm purpose there, and then when I started doing the videos, that kind of gave me a purpose again, and then the lockdown happened, and then a few personal in my life, and I kind of went back to them thoughts again that I just wanted to pack it all in, and it's not even that it's not even that you don't want to be alive. It's that you want to end the pain. You want to end the pain you're feeling inside. So it's not supposed. And you also feel like the way you are when you're down and you're shit. Almost feel like you're not going to harm anybody because you're saving your family. You're saving your family having to deal with your bullshit because you put a burden on. So you're freeing yourself from the pain, and you're freeing what in your mind. You're freeing yourself from the pain, and you're freeing your family from the burden that you have placed upon them.
So basically, it's like kind of a burden type of thing.
Yeah, it's in your mind. It's almost like a heroic act because you're freeing yourself and you're freeing them from your burden.
So you see, go on there.
No, yeah, so I never really discussed it openly then on social media for a while, I suppose. After a bad panic attack on the way to Waterford one day, and I had to turn around, I ended up just putting up a post saying, like, look, I've suffered with depression and anxiety all my life. The reason I couldn't come to the show tonight, I had a panic and so on, and I just got a very, very a lot of good comments and a few nasty ones because they're always going to be there. You're doing it as if talking about mental health gets you more attention. Common misconception that when you talk health online, you get like thousands of followers or something. You don't. You lose thousands of followers. In my experience, I lost thousands on every platform. So it's no great thing to like openly talk about mental health and your depression because you lose a lot of people. But I felt at the same time then, if you do talk about it, you can reach, even if you're that person that night that might be thinking about doing something stupid, or might be just, and if they can think like, oh, well, your man that I thought was very happy and leading a fucking life, if he feels shit, then I have something to relate to.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Did you have like somebody to talk to, like all these things were obviously boiled in, obviously just waiting to explode? Like, did you have that person that you can actually like sit down and talk it over?
It was very strange when it first started happening. I hid it a lot, and then my dad said I have to go down to the doctor with him. So I went down, and Dad was outside, and I went into the doctor, and my doctor was like, "We think you're having like what are called panic attacks." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's like build up of anxiety, and then you get a feeling of fear, and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Nah, fuck off! Like you're telling me my brain is doing this to myself," because I thought it had to be something medical, because it's so scary. Like it has to be something medically wrong with me. But then I came out of the doctors anyway, and I was brought, and I said to my dad, I said, "Oh," he said I'm having panic attacks, and my dad turned around to me and he just goes, I used to have them when I was young. And I was like, the fuck? What? You had panic attacks? Because, you see your dad or you see that father figure as so strong in your life.
Yeah.
And almost an icon, a hero. And when he turns around and goes like, oh, I had them kind of, you're wow. But at the same time, you're like, that's a lot off my shoulders. It's normal. Dad has them.
Yeah.
So you kind of accepted it because of that fact as well of saying that when your father said, "Oh, yeah, I used to have," and you're like, "Oh, so yeah, I shouldn't feel I'm not alone in this." It kind of gave you that
sense of relief.
Yeah. Now we never got further in the like deep into the discussion about them or anything because my dad he's very distant and he's old fashioned and like. I think about three times in my life, and I'm 39. So, like, you know what I mean? He's a very stereotypical Irish father. We don't really discuss them. Just him saying that he had experienced that was enough to make me feel better. You know what I mean?
That is. It's not alone. See, because the other thing we were saying, like also as well on this mental health issue, Stevo, yeah, as we want to talk about it as much as we understand here in Ireland, like we're all Africans and we come from Malawi, all of us, right? But we know from traveling in other African countries. I'll be honest with you myself. Ever since when I came here, I never understood what mental health is. I never understood. I knew there's mental health from reading it in a book, but I didn't know what people can go through. because we grew up in a country where they have people have that restriction that this is not something that doesn't exist, but it's only because they don't understand and diagnose it. Yeah. There are people, for example, in our country that would have ended up taking their life, okay? And people will sit after that and say, why did that guy do that? He's stupid. You know the kind of way? And which is true. They cannot agree. They say, that guy is stupid. And people will be laughing about that. He killed himself. What type of a stupid man is that? What type of stupid woman is that? But because I just now noticed after understanding this mental health, that's when I realized that, well, hold on a minute. Those people that are affected in different ways, some don't kill themselves. Some people you can see now in my country, they could drink daily. It's because there's something going on in their brain, you know? But we take it as, this guy is stupid. He's just an alcoholic. Yeah,
money,
you know, they don't want. We don't go to the backbone.
He's drinking to mask that, to hide that.
To hide that, you know, because like in my country, I know to some, maybe now to some parents, maybe they would understand. But like in my country, if you go to someone and say, I've got mental health, like I've got depression, people will tell you what the hell are you talking about?
Taking a piss, you know?
Yeah, they'll tell you. Yeah, you'll say, well,
that's very similar to Ireland before. You know, you be like, I have depression. Go out for a jog for yourself. Go to the gym. Come in.
Yeah,
you know? It's all do something. And that was the perception before in Ireland. Grandmother killed herself, and my great grandmother killed herself. And I didn't know that. And I was raised thinking of cancer. Caught cancer. I didn't know until 2 years ago, until I was talking to my only auntie, that my grandmother killed herself. And that was like, for me, the fucking bombshell, because I was like, the fuck, like.
Yeah, like, nobody said anything to you as well.
Yeah, you know, but she didn't know herself. I asked my dad then, I was talking to my dad one night, and I said to him, do you think Mom knew about this? And he goes, absolutely. And I said, did she ever discuss it? And he goes, absolutely fucking not. And I asked him, did you know? And he goes, well, there was always voices, there was always rumors, but I didn't question it. You know, so it was swept under the rug, because it was like, to commit suicide in Ireland before was a sin. It was literally a sin. It was against God to take your own life. So I think that was suicide. Suicide was just put down as something else, found, or they accidentally took too many tablets, or it was covered up, because there was such a sense of shame. And then you had the Catholic Church in Ireland as well. They were really fucking strong. If you were seen in any way to not be sane or normal like the rest of us, you could be sent to a fucking home. So you had to hide it. Culture dictated that you hide it. You know what I mean? So it's similar in that way. Just that Ireland has, I suppose, moved forward a bit. You know what I mean? Would all of you guys then have the same experiences of Malawi with mental health and all that?
Yeah, that's the sort of thing like you don't want to say it because you might give a sense of shame to your family, like, they have a child who's mad or something. You might just call you insane or something like that, just because you're trying to take that, but not knowing the real effect of it.
Or he's looking for it.
Simply put, I think amongst African families, there's a certain perception, you know, of how things look. Things that are brushed aside is illness, you know, or something like that. If somebody's sick or they're struggling or something like that, they don't want you to know that they're sick or struggling. Sometimes even they don't want to diagnose what's going on. You know what I mean? So in terms of mental health, for example, you know, things like autism, you know, these things, they're there in African countries, but they're just not diagnosed, you know. So people will look at it and think, if, you know, it's either A or B. It's either you're normal or you're abnormal. That's it. Abnormal, there's no you're normal or you're ill, and let's deal with it. If you're abnormal, cast to the side. That's how it is, you know.
And as well, the way I say, most of the problem that we're saying here, like, is because as well, if something like that happens, and Steve, it's very weird. Because now you see the difference, as you said, autism and all these things. If it arises, someone comes that is mental health, they're gonna. There's a point people say, he was cursed by somebody. You know, those kind of things. You know what I'm talking about, guys. You being from Africa, say, that guy is cursed from someone from his village did it to him. You know, not understanding it is something real. That is.
How did the Irish community change the mentality? If they were laughing at, like if they used to laugh at things like this, like the way we're doing in Malawi right now, I think it would be so helpful for people in Malawi right now to hear that.
We'll see.
When did this mentality change?
To my understanding, I just kind of think, maybe the only thing is here now, you know, that this support. I think it's because people, I know we can't, it's very hard to trace how the transitions to accept it. But I think the fact that there's support, or like you can literally pick up a phone and you can talk to someone that we all know. Like, you know, there's so many different type of charities that help, so many different groups that can help. I think where we're from, I think, guys, all I can say, I think is because we don't have that little something like that you can ring someone and help to say, oh, I'm not feeling well, I need to talk to someone. That's what I don't know what you guys would think. Anyway, being from Malawi.
For me, from Malawi, I would think maybe. Because internet has played a very important role, like in people bringing out awareness into this thing. As in, we're more into communicating now than we were back then. You know, it's easy. Social media, social development, and it's been easier for people to talk about it, just record it and just upload it, and then everybody can watch it. And somebody can have that awareness. Oh, it's not only me that has this thing. Let me say my story. So everybody's doing it together at the same time. People are creating groups, and more and more groups are being created to talk about this thing. And now there's half of people are making it a thing, and it's actually been helping a lot. That's what I think. Anyway.
It's the social development of ways. It takes one problem to happen for another group to realize. You know what I mean? So it takes you learning from something for you to build on it. You know. So like you said. Back in the day, Ireland was very poor. You were hanging on to your religion, you know, while the economy was slipping away. But there was a lot of change that happened between that point to where you are now. The development and the social development, probably even globalization, the internet sort of improving over time, the availability of information.
Yeah, it's actually, actually, ironically as well. Became more accepting. There's a correlation between us becoming more accepting of mental health issues and the gradual decline of the church. We were open to differences. We were open to, I suppose, inside interference. So I'd say that's began to play a role in it because you didn't have the priest telling you were a man. Write music, write lyrics, use some form of artistic expression, whether it even be pretending to be a fucking farmer on your phone. Do something, you know what I mean? Do something. Mike,
if I jumped here, they'd probably find my body in the water and everything and stuff like that. And because I was standing there at the edge, and then I walked back into the apartment, and I just sat down on the table, and I just broke down, and I fought through that myself. And then moving forward, I just started working, on my life, and I was just improve my life in this way. We are a problem ourselves where we don't give people